You know what? This man emailed me today. He said this is 30 feet.
He's got the pre-written questions, so we can really have a chance to express all of our concerns. Don't be afraid to speak out in public.
You also submit questions.
So any questions? You guys good?
The NRC initiated immediate special inspections of all our nuclear power plants across the United States. And those inspections are to be completed tomorrow, as a matter of fact.
What I was going to talk about is what has changed since the last time we had a public meeting. All our workers carry this book right here. It's called The Songs Unit Performance Tools for All Workers. All of us carry those. I'm sure a lot of our team members today have their books. I usually ask them for it to see if you already posted. And what are you expected to do if you can't perform your procedures exactly as written? Absolutely, we stop. Let's go to the next slide.
Before I'm the senior resident of the site, my team, John and Jeremy, we sample activities that are performed in the field. In fact, I've watched a lot of valves being turned in the plant.
We encourage everyone to report concerns, and we take them very seriously. We simply do not tolerate retaliation. Safety-conscious work environment, safety-conscious work environment, safety-conscious work environment. Safety-conscious work environment. Strong safety culture work, safety-conscious work environment, safety-conscious work environment. We ran all of our leaders through a 4-hour training module, and we actually quizzed them on aspects of safety-conscious work environment, safety-conscious work environment. We are seeing some progress in our metrics. We do have an integrated set of metrics that we use to track our improvement in safety-conscious work environment, and safety-conscious work environment, and safety-conscious work environment. Safety-conscious work environment. Finally, I want to emphasize, as Tom did, we are committed to a healthy safety-conscious work environment at the station. Absolutely committed. This is myself, Pete, Tom, the directors, their managers, their supervisors. We're committed to improving, and we will continue to improve our safety-conscious work environment.
Extensive evaluations are underway at San Juan to validate design capabilities and vulnerabilities of all the units here for events such as earthquakes, flooding, and extended station blackouts. This evaluation is also looking at what beyond the design basis or what beyond plant design capabilities that we have or that we may want to have. As a nuclear plant operator, as I mentioned at the beginning of our discussion, our highest priority is protecting the health and safety of the public, but also our plant workers. We are fortunate to be part of an industry that has a long-standing culture that places tremendous value on continuous learning and constantly examining itself and learning from its history and mistakes. Understanding and responding to the events in Japan is a top priority for the U.S. nuclear industry, as well as Southern California and San Juan Nuclear Generating Station. San Onofre does have robust emergency backup power capabilities designed and sized for potential earthquakes and the ground motion and acceleration associated with that, as well as San Onofre is built to be able to withstand a significant tsunami. In addition, we store over 5.3 million gallons of water on site. 3 million gallons of these are seismically qualified or designed to withstand an earthquake event. Those are in what we call seismically qualified tanks. It's important to note that one of the first actions that the U.S. and other countries attempted to make with the Japanese were to get generators on site to Fukushima-Daiichi. It did not prove to be effective because the emergency batteries and switchgear were actually located below grade down in the basement of their buildings and were damaged, were flooded pretty significantly by the ongoing tsunami or the tsunami damage in the water that was left over. The setup of our facility is such that this is a much, much larger building, right? And any attempt to vent hydrogen from our plant, first off, we have hydrogen recombiner type of equipment in this facility, but also it is a much larger volume, and we can't vent that directly outside. We don't have to go through a secondary building that may allow it to build up into a certain area. And the last thing I was mentioning is moving all the way to the right is our spent fuel facility, the most inland of all of our structures. Again, designed to withstand both an earthquake event and a tsunami, designed to withstand flooding. Different from Fukushima-Daiichi, our spent fuel is at grade or ground elevation. Some of the biggest concerns from Japan were that the pools, the spent fuel pools at Fukushima, are elevated, and the fuel is located above grade, and that with the damage from the secondary building explosions, that the pools may drain. We do not face that same type of challenge because of the location of our spent fuel. It is in a separate building designed to withstand the earthquake and tsunami. Also, the fuel is at grade. One of the elements of the Japan tragedy was that these tanks were above ground and they were displaced and moved during the course of the tsunami coming on shore. Lastly, on behalf of Southern California Edison and employees, my co-workers at the San Onofre Nuclear Generating Station, on behalf of our president, Ron Litzinger, our chairman of the board of directors, Ted Craver, and all of us at the plant, thank you for your time and the opportunity to speak with you tonight.
Typical plant for this would get 3,000 to 4,000 hours of independent inspection activity each year. Last year, San Onofre received almost 14,000 hours of independent inspection activity. So it's a significant increase in NRC effort. And that's why I can say with confidence that the NRC believes that San Onofre is on the right track.
The Fukushima Daiichi tragedy is a wake-up call. The 25th anniversary of Chernobyl, the tragedy there last week, is a wake-up call. Please hear our community's deep-seated concerns for safety. It's not business as usual for San Clemente. Life changed last month.
It's always seemed insane that San Clemente has had a nuclear power plant and radioactive waste repository just 2 miles from the southern doorstep. But now, thanks to the horrendous suffering of the people of Japan, it should be obvious to us all that it is insane.
If faults near songs produce an earthquake over 7.5 on the Richter scale, if the reactors are breached and escape routes damaged, if tsunami waves roar ashore at San Onofre Beach, if a jet airplane full of fuel crashes into the song's compound, if a bomb hits the cooling ponds, if these events happen singly or in combination, is it worth risking the health and lives of over 7 million people just to boil water? What in God's name is stopping these people from shutting down San Onofre Nuclear Generating Station now?
The slap yourself on the back sort of attitude that y'all have here. You people are in charge of our safety, not in charge of keeping them in business. We're very concerned that safety of the citizenry is a second concern and not your first concern. People and residents organized for a safe environment emphatically state that for the safety of the public, all 11 nuclear power plants on fault lines need to be immediately closed now.
First, I would like to acknowledge the audience. There are people in this room that have concerns about San Onofre, and I don't think there's anything that I can say today or tomorrow that will alleviate those concerns. We do have evacuation plans in place and the resources available that should we need to mobilize those resources. But as a community, we need to remember that in a large-scale disaster, help may not be immediate. We may need to be our own heroes for a while before help can arrive. In closing, I wish to thank Southern California Edison as well as their emergency planning team. We value that partnership. We trust in that partnership.
I'm here tonight to, first of all, just tell you that in light of what's happened in Japan, it just does not make sense to have San Onofre operating any longer while we're anticipating a huge earthquake that will be devastating even without the factors of radiation release. So that's our position, and we also think that the NRC could do a better job in regulating and overseeing this process, because it just seems like the only results are safety violations is more inspections, and there's no consequences. I've been here a couple of years now listening to these meetings, and there's incidents of the radioactive water being released, 14,000 gallons with 3 workers in the way of that. I don't know if anyone ever gets fired, or we have retaliation cases. There's obviously problems, but I don't know. I never hear of managers being disciplined or removal, and I don't understand why there's not more consequences. I'm looking at a quote from March 4th in the LA Times. It says, the NRC reported that corrective actions to date have not resulted in sustained and measurable improvement in the above-mentioned human performance issues. And then the reason I'm involved in this whole issue is because people have come to us as whistleblowers, and just yesterday I got another batch of bad news for you. There's still a very serious problem there, and I'll be sending you this report from people that work there. They contact me and said, there are people here who want to ask questions at the meeting, but they're too afraid of what will happen to them. Some suggested sending questions to the media to ask. I suggested you. Would you be comfortable doing that? So he's asking me to do that. I don't have time to read this whole thing, but there's an example here. Just says several employees here are aware of leaks from the Employee Concerns Program, ECP. The ECP exists to give employees an alternate means of raising issues or concerns. Some employees who have gone to ECP later found out that an employee in the ECP office called their manager and told her that those employees were complaining. So how do you expect the system to work? How do you expect things to get better? And when are we going to see some real consequences? It's frustrating, especially when we know what we've seen in Japan, that we can't really give you the benefit of the doubt anymore. And this is an old plant, it's on a quake, it's around millions of people. Let's shut it down, move on to green technology.
Peter Dietrich, I hope you have a good contract with. I believe you're the third person I've seen sitting in that seat making promises. There's still procedure problems, there's still process problems. You showed great improvement. I spent 45 years in industry at the Ford Motor Company, McDonnell Douglas, and General Electric. We used the Malcolm Baldrige criteria for process and performance improvement. It's amazing to me that Southern California Edison, as well as the NRC, didn't go to that process first before you started developing your own. And you've taken 3 to 4 years to work out the bugs. Now, quite honestly, I don't believe, and Southern California Edison, I'll talk to the 2 chief administrators of this company, you have absolutely no credibility. You falsified health and safety records not only at this plant but other plants. You falsified customer satisfaction surveys. You lied and you falsified the information as far as EMF emissions in the Gale System project in Mission Gale and Lake Forest. In addition to that, tritium has been leaked out of this plant into the ocean here. It took Southern California Edison, after 25 years of legal battles, to take care of the problem offshore here by putting in the kelp reef and taking care of the exchange of heat. Okay? So Southern California Edison's got no credibility. You, senior management, have failed the people in this facility. I have solar energy, it works fine. I say shut the place down.
I think if you would have asked the people who lived in Fukushima a week before their terrible event that had occurred, and if you would have asked them if they thought that they were safe and if their government had been looking out for their best interest and that that place was safe, I bet you they would have mostly said, yes, I believe that it's safe. And the people that work there, they would have said that it was safe too. But unfortunately, we have seen the horrific examples of how not safe it really is.
Thank you. And John, we're basically out of time.
No.
How many more people do you have on that list?
Up to the 21st person, we have 42.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're not going to get 3 everyone tonight. The NRC is concerned that if a nuclear power plant chooses to operate in this state and is allowed to operate this state, we're going to make sure it's operated safely. And that's our role. That's all I have.
My name is Ace Hoffman. I'm in Clackamas County. I don't even know where to begin, because when you talk to the Department of Energy, they say, well, we would close the nukes down, but the Nuclear Regulatory Commission says they're safe. When you talk to the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, they say, well, as long as the Department of Energy says we need them, we're going to make sure they're safe. There's really no room for us. As for you, Southern California Edison people, we've been hearing your excuses for so long. I can't really stand it anymore. I mean, wow, this is going to be the last time I come to one of these things. Isn't there a single San Onofre employee who's going to cheer? Okay. We're over capacity, according to the Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory, by about 54%. Not over capacity, but we waste that much energy, 54%. And in just electricity, we waste a lot of it. More than than all of our nuclear power plants produce. We waste. We haven't even tried to build wind and wave energy or anything like that. So where are you guys? Why don't you do that? 49 seconds. Wow, I don't know what to say. Did you get my new book? This one will be handed out at each one of these meetings, assuming I come. If you didn't get it, it'll be posted online. I wrote it yesterday and today. Really, it's a new book. Did you get my old book from 2008? Are there any San Onofre employees who would like to write me a detailed explanation of what I'm wrong about? Because I've never seen one. Not from anybody. Giving out thousands of copies. People download it every day by the hundreds. Or dozens or whatever. I got one letter, and it was 10 pages long, and on, and all it said was, this can't be right, and he quoted me. He had one correction in the trivium area, and I went and looked at it, and his correction was not entirely valid, but there was a serious error in that section, and I fixed it. There's my time's up. I'm done. I'll see you guys in, 6 months? A year? When are you coming back?
We'll be back in at least a year, maybe shorter.
Okay. And this is a much better room. Thank you for moving it here. And